Benigno Simeon Cojuangco Aquino III, also known as PNoy and Noynoy, was a Filipino politician who served as the 15th President of the Philippines from 2010 to 2016. Aquino was a fourth-generation politician as part of the Aquino family, and was the son of politician Benigno Aquino Jr. and President Corazon Aquino. On September 9, 2009, shortly after the death of his mother, Aquino officially announced this candidacy in the 2010 presidential election, which he would go on to win. On June 30, 2010, he was sworn into office as the 15th President of the Philippines at the Quirino Grandstand in Rizal Park, Manila, succeeding Gloria Macapagal Arroyo. His term ended on June 30, 2016, and he was succeeded by Rodrigo Duterte. In 2013, Time named him one of the 100 most influential people in the world. Benigno Simeon Noynoy Aquino III was born at 10:50 a.m. on February 8, 1960, at Far Eastern University Hospital in Sampaloc, Manila. He is the third of the 5 children of Benigno S. Aquino Jr., who was then the vice governor of Tarlac Province, and Corazon Cojuangco, daughter of a prominent Tarlac businessman. He has 4 sisters, namely, Maria Elena, Aurora Corazon, Victoria Elisa, and Cristina Bernadette, Chris Aquino. He attended the Ateneo de Manila University in Quezon City for his elementary, high school, and college education. Aquino finished his Bachelor of Arts, major in Economics, degree from the Ateneo de Manila University in 1981. He was one of the students of former Professor of Economics at the Ateneo de Manila University, former President Gloria Macapagal Arroyo. Aquino was a fourth-generation politician. His great-grandfather, Sir Villano Mianong Aquino, served as a delegate to the Malolos Congress. His paternal grandfather, Benigno Aquino Sr., served as Speaker of the House of Representatives of the Philippines from 1943 to 1944. His maternal grandfather, Jose Cojuangco, was also a member of the House of Representatives, and his parents were Corazon Aquino, who served as the 11th President of the Philippines, 1986 to 1992, and Senator Benigno Noynoy Aquino Jr. Aquino was a member of the Liberal Party, where he held various positions such as Secretary General and Vice President for Luzon. Aquino became Deputy Speaker of the House of Representatives on November 8, 2004, but relinquished the post on February 21, 2006, when Aquino joined his Liberal Party members in calling for the resignation of President Gloria Macapagal Arroyo at the height of the Hello Garci scandal. Aquino was also chairman of the board of the Central Luzon Congressional Caucus. Barred from running for re-election to the House of Representatives of the Philippines, to represent the 2nd District of Tarlac, due to term limits, Aquino was elected to the Senate of the Philippines in the 2007 Philippine midterm election on May 15, 2007, under the banner of the Genuine Opposition, GO, a coalition comprising a number of parties, including Aquino's own Liberal Party, seeking to curb attempts by President Gloria Macapagal Arroyo to amend the 1986 Philippine Constitution. In Aquino's political ads, he was endorsed by his younger sister, TV host Chris Aquino, and his mother, the late former President Corazon Aquino. Although a Roman Catholic, Aquino was endorsed by the Pentecostal Jesus as Lord Church, one of the largest Protestant churches in the Philippines. With more than 14.3 million votes, Aquino's tally was the 6th highest of the 37 candidates for the 12 vacant seats elected from the nation at large. Aquino assumed his new office on June 30, 2007. Aquino being proclaimed as the President-elect of the Philippines by President of the Senate of the Philippines Juan Ponce Enrile and House Speaker Prospero Nograles at the Batasang Pambanza in Quezon City on June 9, 2010. On November 26, 2008, the Liberal Party elected Mar Roxas, President of the Liberal Party, as the standard-bearer of the Liberal Party for President of the Philippines in the then-upcoming 2010 presidential elections. Following the death and funeral of Aquino's mother, former President Corazon Aquino, many people began calling on Aquino to run for President of the Philippines. This groundswell of support became known as the Noynoy phenomenon. On August 27, 2009, Edgardo Eddie Rosas, son of the late Chino Rosas, former publisher and owner of the Manila Times, and a group of lawyers and activists formed the Noynoy Aquino for President Movement, NAPM, a nationwide campaign to collect 1 million signatures in order to persuade Aquino to run for president, reminiscent of Rosas' father, who on October 15, 1985, launched the Cory Aquino for President movement, CAPM, collecting more than 1 million signatures nationwide, asking Aquino's mother to run against Ferdinand Marcos in the 1986 presidential snap elections. In September 2009, the Liberal Party held numerous press conferences in relation to the 2010 elections at the Club Filipino in Green Hills, San Juan, the site of the presidential inauguration of Aquino's mother in February 1986. On September 1, 2009, at the Club Filipino, in a press conference, Senator Mar Roxas, president of the Liberal Party, announced his withdrawal from the 2010 presidential race and expressed his support for Aquino, as the party standard-bearer instead. Aquino later stood side by side with Roxas, but did not make a public statement at the press conference. The next day, Aquino announced that he would be going on a spiritual retreat over the weekend to finalize his decision for the elections, visiting the Carmelite sisters in Zamboanga City. Reminiscent of his mother's own soul-searching in 1985 before deciding to run for the elections the following year. He came back on September 9 to formally announce his candidacy. Almost 2 weeks later, Roxas pledged to run alongside Aquino as the Liberal Party standard-bearer for vice president. The two men filed their respective certificates of candidacy for president and vice president on November 28, 2009. During the campaign, Senator Francis Escudero began endorsing Aquino as president and PDP Laban standard-bearer Jehomar Binay for vice president, launching the Aquino Binay campaign. However, this was done without the consent of the two candidates. Binay was former President Joseph Estrada's running mate for vice president. During the 2010 presidential election, held on May 10, 2010, in unofficial tallies, conducted by the Commission on Elections, COMELEC, and the Parish Pastoral Council for Responsible Voting, PPCRV, Aquino was the leading candidate in tallied votes for president, and in the official congressional canvass, Aquino was the leading candidate in canvassed votes for president. Aquino was unofficially being referred to as President Apparent by the media. On June 9, 2010, at the Batasang Pambanza complex, in Quezon City, the Congress of the Philippines proclaimed Aquino as the President-elect of the Philippines, following the 2010 election with 15,208,678 votes, while Jehomar Binay, the former mayor of Makati, was proclaimed as the Vice President-elect of the Philippines with 14,645,574 votes, defeating runner-up for the vice presidency Mar Roxas, the standard-bearer of the Liberal Party for vice president. The presidency of Benigno Aquino III began at noon on June 30, 2010, when he became the 15th President of the Philippines, succeeding Gloria Macapagal Arroyo. Since the start of his presidency, he has also been referred to in the media as PNoy. The presidential transition began on June 9, 2010, when the Congress of the Philippines proclaimed Aquino the winner of the 2010 Philippine presidential elections held on May 10, 2010, proclaiming Aquino as the President-elect of the Philippines. The transition was in charge of the new presidential residence, cabinet appointments and cordial meetings between them and the outgoing administration. Traditionally, it is the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court of the Philippines who administers the oath of office to the incoming president and vice president. However, Aquino refused to allow Chief Justice Renato Corona to swear him into office, due to Aquino's opposition to the midnight appointment of Corona by outgoing President Gloria Macapagal Arroyo on May 12, 2010, 2 days after the 2010 elections and a month before Arroyo's term expired. Instead, Aquino formally requested Associate Justice of the Supreme Court of the Philippines Conchita Carpio Morales, who opposed the midnight appointment of Corona, to swear him into office. After being sworn in as the 15th President of the Philippines, succeeding Gloria Macapagal Arroyo, Aquino delivered his inaugural address. On July 26, 2010, at the Batasang Pambanza, in Quezon City, Aquino delivered his first State of the Nation address, SONA. During Aquino's first State of the Nation address, SONA, Aquino announced his intention to reform the education system in the Philippines by shifting to K-12 education, a 12-year basic education cycle. K-12 education is used in the United States, Canada, and Australia. On July 29, 2015, Aquino delivered his final SONA address, where he discussed the country's economic improvements and the benefits of social service programs, particularly the Pantawid Pamilyang Pilipino program and the Philippine Health Insurance Corporation, during the course of his presidency. Following the turnover ceremonies to his successor Rodrigo Duterte at Malacañang, Aquino returned to his parents' residence along Time Street, Quezon City. Since leaving office, Aquino remained silent on the Duterte administration and rarely made public appearances. However, in November 2016, Aquino attended a concert at Rizal Park and joined protests against the burial of Ferdinand Marcos. In February 2017, Aquino commemorated the 31st anniversary of the People Power Revolution by marching to the People Power Monument and joining the protests against the Ferdinand Marcos regime. Aquino never married and had no children, making him the Philippines' first bachelor president. Aquino previously had a relationship with Shalana Soledad, a Valenzuela Metropolitan Councilor and niece of former Senator Francisco Tatad. In November 2010, Aquino confirmed that he and Soledad had ended their relationship. He had previously dated Karina Sanchez, Bernadette Sembrano, and Liz Uy. He was also in a relationship with Korean television host Grace Lee. Aquino had openly stated that he preferred younger women because he wanted to have children. Aquino was also an enthusiast of shooting, billiards and video games. Aquino did not drink alcoholic beverages, but was a smoker. Aquino also said that he was not keen on being a poster boy for anti-smoking campaigns. Upon winning the election, Aquino received a phone call from U.S. President Barack Obama, who congratulated him and offered assistance to smoking cessation. Although his official residence as president was Malacañang Palace, Aquino chose to reside in the Bahay Pangarap, House of Dreams, located within the palace grounds, while in office. On June 24, 2021, Aquino was hospitalized at Capital Medical Center in Quezon City and died on the same day. He reportedly died of a heart attack while undergoing dialysis. He was 61.